Well, happy Monday. Oh my goodness, it's Joyful Monday. And I am Joy Ruffin. Welcome. It's always good to have you here. We enjoy your company. Good company is always welcome and sometimes not so good. The work that I do is as a leadership and style consultant, a signature style specialist, speaker, executive producer, and TV host, podcaster. But yet every Monday I bring to you a featured guest speaker, and today is no exception. But most of you know who come on a regular basis that the love for quotes goes on and on and on. So every week we bring you a topic. And this week the topic is, what does divine mean to you? Is it aligned with whatever your higher source might be? Because everybody has a different higher source. So I start off with quotes. And the point is that it's good food for thought, hopefully for you, and that it's something that will stick and align with you so that you can use it in your life, in your environment going forward. So when we talk about the divine, here's a quote that's really quite powerful. And I really have no question marks about you're not appreciating this. It said, the rise of the feminine within us all will heal the world. Oh, my. That is such a belief of mine. And I'm hoping it will be of yours too. And that's from the femalerisingheart.com org. All of these different, I always attempt to edify people. You just never know. And then the one that aligns with that, it ties in. I think you'll love them all. Whenever you are creating beauty around you, you are restoring your soul. Your soul. And that was said by Pure Love Quotes. Friends, do I need to tell you that my love for quotes is never ending? Because it's like getting your PhD in life, wisdom, knowing, appreciation for the moments that you're here in this galaxy. The word goddess, well, it is a word that's not used enough today. The word queen is used often. I get it. I understand it. I know what it means. So do you. But there's a little bit more behind that word that's not being embraced. But goddess, oh yes, it is. And it has much more impact. This is from a quote by someone called Hathaway. I think we might know. This is what she said. And you could apply it to the queen, yet it has a different meaning. The semantics of the word. A goddess has a courage to fall, the spirit to rise, and the resilience to stand. Now, you could say that's the same for a queen, but we get a little bit more into the semantics of words here. So I leave that with you, your food for thought. It's just an opinion of mine. It doesn't have to be yours. And I hope it has some impact and meaning for you. It's something that I want to leave you with here. And it's a takeaway. Blame to anyone, including ourselves, is dangerous. Shall I repeat that? Blame to anyone, including ourselves, is dangerous because we both have the divine masculine and the divine feminine within us, which is whole and healed. And our process is to get the balance between the two. There's so much more I could share with you. Divine femininity is about nurturing, understanding, empathy, and connection and compassion, connecting. There's so much more to share, but the time flies here. And what I really want to do is invite you to just relax and sit back. I want to tell you a little bit about, I really intend that the title will tie and align in with the featured guest speaker and what they're about. And this is a young lady that I want to share with you a little bit about her because her background is really quite fascinating. Our featured guest speaker tonight, let me give you a little bit about her background. Her name is Anna Marie Bonassari, and I hope I pronounced that right. If not, she'll let me know. She is a Bay Area entrepreneurial female, woman, lady who has been in the publishing business Just shy of a decade. When you see her, you're going to say, shy of a decade. I think maybe not quite that long. She has several publications, including Born to Age, AGE, in Flight USA, and Biz Ave Jets USA, and so much more she'll tell us about, which is a monthly general aviation news magazine for pilots and aviators who are enthusiastic. Well, why wouldn't they be about what they do? And the magazine focuses on flight education, warbirds, I don't know what that is, she'll explain it, racing and aerobatics, and aircraft for sale. Anna Marie, I met through another friend. Don't we always meet people and make connections through others? And she has a fascinating background. And one of the few, and I've met a few women, there aren't that many, even though the ones that we do meet are really powerful in their way, in their league. But Anna Marie Bonaceri is one of the women that I've met in publishing that I love the work she's doing because I love to fly. I wish I had taken flight lessons at an earlier age. Never too late, but that's not my wheelhouse right now. So friends, I ask you each and every time we meet to sit back, relax, and just grab whatever is comfortable for you and help me welcome our featured guest speaker today. Anna Marie, come on up and welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm always good. I'm always good. I'm always good. And so are you. And that's why you're here. Anna Marie, I didn't sugarcoat what I love and applaud and commend you for, because there aren't a lot of women still in the publishing dynamic arena. And you are. So we have a lot to discuss in a short time. But tell us briefly, before we get going here with some of the questions that I have for you, how did you get started in the publishing business?
Well, I have a bit of an unfair advantage. My family has been in publishing for about 40 years. And my dad actually started the In-Flight USA. It was a garage started business, family business. And it started as a very small publication. And we've been through a lot in the last 40 years. And I'm proud to have taken over that business and to have spun off my own publications from there, and to have gotten myself into aviation as well as a student pilot, and selling airplanes is part of the work I do with In-Flight USA. So yes, it's a family business, but I'm very fortunate to have been able to spin it off in my own directions.
I love that. And I love the way you gave us that information, Anne Marie. You said that it's a little bit of an unfair advantage. No, it isn't, because you didn't have to take over the family business, but something about it appealed to you and you decided, boom, I'm going for it. And in the going for it, you spun off your own creation. I think that's genius. I really do. And there's no sugarcoating here. So good for you. 40 years, that's a long, long time. And then when I didn't know, and I missed this, Anna Marie, you're a pilot as well? Whew.
A student pilot. I
A
take flying
student.
lessons out of the Napa airport. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's a very wonderful location to be able to fly out of. You see the whole Bay Area, and I've been working on my pilot's license for about a year now. I'm hoping to solo pretty soon.
Good for you. Good for you. I say bravo, and I'll be in the air flying with you when you get that certification, because it means a lot. That said, 40 years, your family business in the publishing business. So tell us about the publishing business and the magazine that you sponsor, and share with us as much as you can about that magazine, a publishing magazine.
Right. Well, I think publishing is as important now as ever. Media is so important, but so much has changed in the world. And, I'm probably one of few millennials that remembers it the old way, because I spent a lot of time at the office with my family. It was like a second home to us. And I remember how they would lay out the magazine the old fashioned way. And they had a whole aisle in the office, all the old tools that they used. And it was really quite a production. And then packaging up those flats and taking them to a physical printer. So I remember the old way, and now we have to get followers on social media. We have to get email addresses, build a newsletter. These are all crucial things for survival in today's world of media. So I've seen the oldest to the newest, and I've been putting out magazines a long time. I'm not a graphic artist, but I work closely
Mhm.
with our graphic artists who lay them out. It's all digital now on Cork and InDesign. And we do a lot of different things here. From the process of laying it out and editing articles and putting them in the magazine, to selling advertising and distributing the magazines, whether that's going to airports and leaving a pile of physical copies, or doing distribution online, emailing this thing out, putting it up on social media, driving traffic to our website. So it's really a fine dance and a balance of the old
Yeah,
and preserving
I
the
love
history
that.
and doing all the new things you have to do to stay in media and survive.
You know what, Anna Marie, you could not have been more graphic in your description there, because when you mentioned the word, when you started about laying out, I remember back in the day working with Vogue, how they would lay out the pictures and the graphics that we needed to use for layouts. And you're talking about you being a millennium and blending today the new with the old, because you got a chance. You were able to receive the option of knowing what's really involved, the foundation, and then how to blend that in with the new. I think that's a terrific gift. And maybe, even though we're going more and more into the new age and technology, I think that's a gift maybe that a lot of people in different businesses don't get. And it's good to have that foundational base. Even though it's old and maybe outdated, you know how to blend and bring in the new, which is what you've done with your publishing. Which magazine did you spun off and make your own?
Right. So I was working at InFlight for several years. I started off as an editor, and then we realized that I was needed in the sales department. So I
Uh-huh.
started doing more sales work, and I sold an advertisement, a large space, to a client in Las Vegas. And he had so much fun putting this cover together and doing the interview with me that he called me and said, I have an idea for a magazine. He was a
Oh,
mechanic, and he wanted to do something more for the business jet. So in-flight is really recreational, the small airplanes, the Cessna 172s, the Piper Cubs, and now we have the biz jet world that's really taken over the world. It's huge, the charters and these bigger jet airplanes, and he knew a lot about them. So Eli and I spun off and started BizAv Jets. And then we had another client for BizAv Jets who wanted to do a magazine for veterans. So we kind of helped him get started. And in the meantime, I was doing some work with seniors on the side, and I met this couple that was looking to retire from their magazine, which was Born to Age. So I started helping them with that. And the publishing house just kind of started growing. We've always had multiple titles under one roof. We had a California wine magazine when I was growing up, and we had books pass through here. We've always had various projects come through the publishing house. So it was never meant to just be one magazine. Of course, InFlight is our most frequent flyer. It's once a month, and the other ones are quarterly and annual. But just finding people along the way who wanted to have a magazine, who wanted to do this kind of work with me, helped me spin off in different directions and develop more of a publishing house.
I love it. And you could not be more graphic in your description. So you have three, as I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, magazines that you now spearhead and get out. One's quarterly, and one is monthly and the other is quarterly. But they're all great. In Flight, the Biz magazine, and Born to Age. And that's for seniors. I'm a happy senior. So Born to Age really resonates with my soul. And you said that came up because you met or you were talking to seniors who wanted. Tell us a little bit more about that, because that's my arena. They all are, but this is one that I really know about. Born to Age. Tell us a little bit more about that magazine.
Right. So I've always had an interest in the senior care field. There's a lot going on in that space, and I've done various work on the side of helping people find a care home and doing consulting. And one day while I was at an event, I met this couple, and they were publishing Born to Age. And
Uh-huh.
I said, I'd like to do that in my location. I'd like San Mateo to have one of those, because they're in the North Bay, north of the Golden Gate, and they were
Yes.
publishing up there. And I said, well, this would be really great in San Mateo, Burlingame. And they said, well, just go ahead and start one. They were very kind to me, very easy with me. So I did. And then a couple years later, they thought of retiring, and they're like, would you like to help us with the other ones? And so I did. And I'm in, it's a gradual buyout. I'm giving them percentages of the revenue as we go, and eventually taking over Born to Age and hiring other people to be part of that. So that's my journey with Born to Age. It's really a great publication, not just for the oldest old, but for the aging boomers who are looking at different options in their retirement.
Oh, Anna Marie, I think that's fabulous because, again, that speaks to how you addressed to us and gave us a description in the beginning about blending. I just use the analogy, the old with the new and getting the mean, which is what you're doing with the 3 powerful publications that you're doing. And you gave me something else and you spoke to it in a light way, but let's expound on it a little wee bit more. The relevance of niche magazines. Tell us a little bit about that. I think you've already spoke to it, but give us more juice about the relevance of niching in magazine publishing. That's really what's important today.
You know, you have to have a niche. I mean, when people talk about the death of print, they're often talking about mass media, you know, the bigger papers. Those are surviving. I mean, some of the tech entrepreneurs and pioneers of our lifetimes, the Jeff Bezoses, the Elon Musks of the world, they're actually buying up mass media newspapers. So those are far from dead. But if you have a niche, you know, the regular Joes who don't have the bank accounts of Jeff Bezos, folks like me, if you have a niche, you can start a magazine. And if you have an audience and you know how to get it out there, you could get this done for not nearly as much money as they're pouring into it. And you can be very successful. There's still an audience out there that likes print. You know, I deal with a lot of older people in my work, between retired rugby pilots and military men. And warbirds, by the way, are older aircraft that were part of World War II. That's what that refers to. And the seniors that read Born to Age, there's still a lot of people that want to have a physical copy in their hands. So that in and of itself is a niche. But don't be discouraged, because a magazine can be a great addition to people who are growing in media, who have a YouTube show, who have a TV show, have things like that, and they want to have a magazine as well. We have done some consulting. Eli Stepp, my business partner, and I have helped people launch their own magazines, whether it's something simple on Flipboard or actually going ahead and getting it printed. We have worked with people on that. And if you have a niche, you can be successful.
Oh, Anna Marie, you are a powerhouse, and I celebrate and applaud you because the work that you're doing and the way that you're explaining to many of us who are novices and have no clue but want to know more about the publishing business, you're giving it to us. I'm going to take a quick little reset because I want to bring up not only your poster, I want to promote something else that I'm doing, and then I'm going to come back to you, and I want to talk about what you've already shared with us, and we're going to expound on it a wee bit more, giving back to the general aviation arena. That's what we'll talk about. So hold tight. My engineer is going to put you in the green room, and I'll be with you in just a second. Oh my goodness. If you love to travel and you love to fly and you want to do it first class, high end, and even, there's just so much. This lady will take you there in so many different ways. So your assignment is to connect with her. In the meantime, if you are not a member as she is, you need to be with us. We're inviting you to join us. Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, because just like Anna Marie, me, and all the other beautiful souls, your vision, your mission, and your purpose, it matters. And we want you to come and join us to be a part of this community. Now, friends, I have put together a beautiful, colorful, fun, engaging quiz for you and you only. All you have to do is get the information, take the quiz, and then send it through, and then we'll get back to you, or you will get to us, whichever comes first, and see how this impacted you and the transition it made to what you think now and what you can think about in the future. And then my engineer is going to put up Anna Marie's poster. Please take a screenshot, take a snapshot, and while we're running across the screen when she's on, her email address and her cell number, take the screenshot, because this is a video that you will get and she will have that you can use to do whatever she needs to with it. But your assignment is to make sure you get her website, get the email and the cell phone number, and then connect with her, because she has so much more to offer you than what we have time to cover here today. Now, Anna Marie, one of the things that I really, really love is when you talk about giving back, because you mentioned how you have always been supportive of the senior community. I think, as my momsy would say, Anna Marie, and you'll appreciate this because I know your sense of humor, she said, anybody with half a brain, how could you not be able to give back. As you progress, you always give back. So how do you, and what are you doing, and how are you giving back to the general aviation community?
Right. So giving back to the general aviation community is very important to me because they've given me so much, from
Ah,
the flight school I attend, working with me and teaching me to become the best pilot I can be, to all of our advertisers and employees and contractors, writers throughout the years. I just love being at air shows. I love attending these events. It's one of those events where you stop. I don't want to get controversial, but everybody will hear the national anthem and they'll turn and they'll face it, put their hand over their heart. It's a beautiful industry. It's a beautiful community. And they've given me so much in making me the person that I've become. I love to support aviation businesses. I love to go in and see how they're doing when I'm on deliveries. I really enjoy promoting them as much as I can. I mean, sure, they pay for the service to advertise on our website, in our publications, but we do a lot of additional gifts for them, interviews, helping them get the word out there. And I really believe in aviation. There's a lot of small airports that are closing now, a lot of small businesses that are not able to survive. And, we want to change that. We want to make this work. We want to support our local airports and attend their events and really see them not only survive these tough times, but grow. So I'm all for supporting that. It's a real cause in my mind, especially the aviation museums. They're
mhm.
really fun to visit. Just going in there, paying a nominal fee to go take a tour. It's really great.
It is great. We have one here in Florida that hubby and I attended several years ago, and it is like an adventure. And I'm going to go off the grid here a wee bit and say something, and your input is valued. Because one of the things that I've learned over the years, and when hubby and I were living up in northern New Jersey, we lived next door to a pilot. I don't know what it is, Anna Marie, but the pilots have always had a stellar reputation. Because I think I'm sharing and asking your input. Their loyalty, their sense of honor, and their integrity, and when they take the responsibility of so many other people's lives into their hands, they don't become, they are a different entity. That's what I've discovered. My next door neighbor up in northern New Jersey was a pilot. He had the greatest sense of humor. But when it came down to getting onto that plane and taking it to where it had to go, he shared a lot of wonderful stories with us. Have you found it to be that they're a different breed, so to speak? I say that with love.
Yes, they are, and many of them are also veterans and they love
Yeah,
country. They really
yeah,
care about their country and the people that they fly and the cargo that they fly. It's not always
yes.
about the passengers, but they love what they do. They're just so kind to us and they've been supportive of our business and we've been supportive of theirs. So, yes, we love veterans and pilots and mechanics, the people behind the scenes that are working with the oil, the tires, making sure these planes are ready to fly. I mean, there was a week, gosh, it was several months ago, and you read about a United plane having problems
Hmm.
every day of the week. And these people really put themselves on the line and they went in there, they fixed the problem. I mean,
Mm.
they're good people. And that's my business partner, Eli. He was a mechanic for many years. And sometimes they're the behind the scenes people that are often forgotten, but they're wonderful. Don't forget your mechanics.
Ah, Anna Marie, thank you for that. Because I think oftentimes most people, regardless of what their wheelhouse in their industry business might be, all one and the same, maybe forget about the behind the scenes people. They wouldn't be up front without behind the scenes people. So you're giving kudos to those who have offered their talents, their skills, and their craft to you, and the business that you're in is to be rewarded. And I don't think enough of us do that, because being out front is good, but you don't get out front without a lot of people supporting you from behind the scenes. So that's really a good point to make. What is one of the most fascinating, interesting things that you have learned being in the publishing aviation business, so to speak? What kind of takeaway or gift, food for thought, would you want to leave the audience with? Most of the people come for a replay, but regardless, they come. So, what is it that you want to share with people that is really important for all of us to know? I heard the point that you made about mass media and how they're being brought up, boom, boom, boom. So, share with us whatever you want to as a takeaway.
Yes, there's been so much in the last several years that I've really been making the business my own. I mean, arguably, I have been doing things in the business since I was a kid, but in the last few years that I have really made it my own and worked very closely with my mom. Unfortunately, my dad passed away. I would say that the writers have been a great takeaway. Every time I get a new submission from a writer, whether it's something more on the technical side or something more on the humorous side, there's always so much to be learned from these writers. They're pilots, they're veterans, they're mechanics. They've done a lot of great things, and there's really something for everybody here. And at InFlight, we have really technical articles. We have things that are about the science of flying, and sometimes you read it and it kind of goes over your head if you're not a pilot. And sometimes we have really funny stories about a guy who had to go to the bathroom in mid-flight, peed in a soda can, and then forgot that he had done that and just kind of saw a soda can. And I'll just leave the rest of it. But he was one of my favorite writers of all time. So we have something for everybody here. There's just great articles to be learned, and learning to laugh at ourselves, I would say, is one of the greatest things I've learned.
That's a great story. And thank you for sharing that, Anna Marie, because there's a truth yet that pilots still hold a place in the stratosphere that maybe too many kudos and on a pedestal, and no one is on a pedestal. We're all human and we're all connected, no matter what your belief or service or business might be. So I thank you for that. I have to tell you that I don't put people on pedestals and I don't look up to people in the traditional way, but I do have a lot of admiration and applause for women, especially because I'm all about the divine feminine, knowing that we wouldn't be without the divine masculine. So there's no blame or bashing. So I just love the work that you're doing, because there aren't that many of us. I didn't do my statistics, but I don't know what the percentage of men who own the publishing businesses and women who own, but I'm sure you know that. You don't have to share that right now. But when I meet women who are doing anything that's somewhat different from the norm of what was and what is to come, and you've already given us clues about what's happening back in the day, what's happening, and what's happening now with technology. So thank you for that. Any pearls of wisdom you want to leave us with before we say so long for now? I'm going to ask my engineer to put up your graphic one more time. And then in turn, anything that you want to leave us with, any point of reference, any pearls of wisdom, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you for interviewing me. It's been a pleasure to talk about InFlight. And yes, it's wonderful to see more women and people of color and all kinds of different people getting into media and publishing, and thankful for the technology that has allowed for that to happen. And I still have a big learning curve ahead of me, but I'm excited for it. And to all the women in aviation, whether they're writing about it or they're in the plane or they're doing aerobatic maneuvers, it's awesome to see that. We're just so proud of all the different women who have accomplished their goals in aviation. And if anybody's interested in magazine publishing or aviation, I'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
Anne Marie, thank you for bringing up women, because we spoke about aviation, about pilots, and mainly I geared it towards the male-dominated industry, focusing more on you and publishing as a female. But yet, I'm absolutely delighted that you brought in women who are involved in aviation or pilots as well. So that was a salient point to bring to the fore. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for your time and your attention and your grace, because it's kind of weird in my household, but I just love every moment that I share with people who instill in me something that wasn't there before, that gives me wings to fly. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So long for now. My engineer's going to put you in the green room. All righty. I tell you, it's amazing to me how the time flies. It goes, shoo, it's gone. But my intention is always to bring you an array of people, men and women, who share with you their wisdom, their love, and their knowledge about what they're passionate about. And I know without question that you felt Anna Marie Buenos Aires, her whole heart and soul is connected to this business that she's in, the publishing business, which is part of the aviation community. So my friends, you know what I say all the time, it's the beginning of a new week. Be and stay well, take care of yourself as best you can, and know that I'm sending you always from my heart to yours, much, much love. Be and stay well, and make this one of the best weeks ever. Much love, my friends. Cheers.